Hello everyone, welcome to another session of Conversation with Shu Yi, where we want to bring to you some of the world's best entrepreneurs, influencers, or even authors to share their knowledge and share their insights so that you can benefit from it as well. Now, in today's session, we have a really special guest who is known as the expert in personal branding. Now, this person over here, he has worked with many top brands, many influential entrepreneurs, and even celebrities who have millions of followers on Instagram and on Facebook. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of you might have heard of him. He is the founder of his own podcast show called The Rayson Show, with over 70 episodes right now. Now, a lot of big names have been featured on his show. Now, this person who I'll be interviewing later on is called Mr. Rayson Choo. Now, Rayson, what he has done is extremely incredible because he has interviewed people like Cardone and even Gary Vaynerchuck. And for Rayson himself, he has been featured on a lot of local newspapers and also several medias as well on his success story. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really grateful to have Rayson to come out on our show today to share with us how to connect, network, and collaborate with celebrities and influential entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rayson Choo, and let's just dive deep into the interview. Enjoy. So hello, Rayson. First of all, thank you so much for being on this show today. And I think it's our pleasure and also our audience pleasure to really learn from you. So once again, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show, man. Really appreciate it. It's my honor and my pleasure to be here.
Our pleasure. So my first question to you is that I just checked your podcast and I know that you have done over 70 plus podcasts up till now. So I'd just like to move back to zero where you first started your podcast. What made you actually start this the Rayson Show?
Well, I started this Rayson Show. It's all based on a humble beginning whereby I got to learn from another podcast. So what happened was this: in the year 2014, I was literally down and out after coming out from my army and getting a full-time job, and somehow or other I lost the job because of some, I would say, some mistakes that I've made, certain problems that I've had to go through at that point of time. And I realized that, I needed to improve on myself. So I started my own self-development journey by listening to podcasts, reading books, and watching all these YouTube videos, not WWE, but more towards like, all this personal development, all this in terms of like Tai Lopez, Gary V, Grant Cardone, and etc. All this video. So I happened to chance upon this podcast called Addicted to Success. So this guy, his name is Joe Brown, and we are still in contact. I'm really grateful for this guy's podcast because he has already interviewed a lot of stars, a lot of amazing people, such as Anthony Robbins, Grant Cardone, and so many others, right? So he has perpetually interviewed so many of them. And I was thinking to myself, hey, if let's say I were to do that like him, that would be even awesome. That would be even, and I would say, an amazing journey for me that I can actually go about doing this and interview these people. That would be a dream come true for myself. So I took this opportunity about 3 years, to plan out, to visualize about it, to think about it. It took me about 3 years. Then I started this whole podcast. So it was a long journey because I had to go through a job, and also at the same time I had to go through some self-discovery, certain I would say certain causes to improve on myself, and of course taking some time to think about this podcast. What do I really want, and how to do about it, and etc. And who to get, right? Because at that point of time, I have no clue who I want to target, who I want to meet, and who are my target audience in a sense. So I didn't know. At first, I thought, this is going to be just like an educational podcast for nurses or for any employees, or just to learn more about different niche. That's what I thought of, and slowly it boils down to entrepreneurship. So it first started off with books, recommending books and authors, and then after the first episode, I realized, hey, it's not going to be this. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be different. So dive down to niche, because I have friends, Facebook friends who are entrepreneurs, who are speakers, and etc. So I thought of jumping into that area. Then slowly I realized that, hey, entrepreneurship is something that I'm passionate about. And then I went towards entrepreneurship. So it took me about 3 years to really sort out and to plan. And because of my busy schedule, work schedule, and etc., then I started to do this as well.
Nice. Really love your journey about starting your own podcast. So when we talk about podcasts, right, sometimes producing 1 to 2 podcasts, that is something very easy to do. But until now, you have over 72 interviews, right, since I last checked. So my question to you is, you actually stay consistent to produce this content and put out content consistently?
Yep. So I have been consistent, which is key towards people finding out about the Legacy Show, and also at the same time finding out about me. Of course, I do have some. I would say I do have some parts where I people found me on newspaper, because I've been featured on newspaper. I've been featured here and there, but they found quite a number of them found me through my podcast. That's why they have been adding me up. They have been following me. They have been, I would say, asking me questions as well. So they have been asking me a lot of questions like, hey, how do you do your own podcast? How do you get to connect with these people? How do you get to do all this stuff? Which I believe we will dive deeper into that later on. And yeah, so all this just came upon this word that I have been always believing in, and that is discipline. In order to be able to get so many episodes out, first and foremost, you have to be really disciplined. Like literally, like you have to be disciplined with the content that you want to come out. You have to be disciplined with the amount of time that you're going to put in for your passion, or your money making passion, your hobby, whatever they call it, right? You got to make sure that it is something that you really have love for. Because if you don't love what you're doing, then all the more it will be half fuck, like literally. The effort that you're going to put in is going to be half, or even 1/3 or 1/4. And then next moment you realize that, hey, you gave up on your goal and your dream. So I wouldn't want that to happen to, anyone that wants to start their own podcast or their businesses or anything, especially during this very difficult time, especially during this COVID-19 period. Is damn tough. So it is necessary that you have faith in yourself, and also at the same time be disciplined with what you want to do. So discipline is a key. Discipline is a key for my consistency.
Nice. Well, I believe that discipline is not only the key for starting a successful podcast, but it's also the key of doing everything you want to do in your life to achieve your goals.
Yep.
So,
yes.
You see, when you start a podcast, when we talk about starting a podcast, there are literally like thousands of out there. People are doing the same thing. So how do you actually differentiate yourself from the rest? Like Legacy Show, why is it different from other podcasts?
Well, for the Legacy Show, it is different in terms of the people that I got for my show. It is a mix of startups. It's a mix of gurus. It's a mix of people who have been there and done that. So those mix come as in terms of different culture, different countries, different ethnicity. Look, my podcast, I don't just get people that's popular in the US. I get people who's popular in China. I got people who's popular in Singapore. I got people who's popular in Malaysia. Got people who are popular in other parts of the world. Because I believe in diversity. I believe in also at the same time, their knowledge and wisdom are very important, be it whichever country they are from. Because ultimately, one day, one guy or one girl will definitely want to conquer the world of business in many parts of the world. They want to know, hey, if I want to go to China, how am I going to do that? Then, yeah, we have people like Carrie who will be talking about it. We want to dominate digital marketing. Who do we have? We have Gabriel Wong, right? Singaporean, true blue Singaporean who is pretty good at his work. And then also at the same time, Paul Getter. Paul Getter is like one of the biggest digital marketing firm, agency, person in the United States of America who is helping people like Ty Lopez, people like Alex Mayer, people like Les Brown, and so many other people in terms of their marketing, in terms of their content creation, in terms of many other things, in terms of advising them. Even Grant Cardone also seek advice from him as well, right? So all these people, I gather them together like as if they are the super heroes, like the Marvel superheroes or the DC universe. They come together and they share their knowledge and wisdom, which I'm truly grateful for that.
Right. Okay. I understand. So,
Mm-hmm.
biggest question, which I believe that all of our audience right now would like to find out, is that you have interviewed so many successful entrepreneurs. Just like what you said, you pulled a team of Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
You managed to interview people like Gary V, Grant Cardone. So, as an ordinary Singaporean, you have managed to achieve so many great results in your podcast career. So, my question to you,
Mm-hmm.
um, how do you actually attract all these celebrities, entrepreneurs, or influencers to actually collaborate and even work with you?
Consistency. That's the most important and most powerful weapon that you're going to have, or alibi for you, or ability for you. Why would I say that? Is because when you are consistent and when you are persevering with substance, right? In terms of your podcast, they found that, hey, this guy's podcast, the questions that he asked, the relationship that he built with these guests are long term. I don't build relationship with any one of them for just a short period of time. Till today, I'm still in contact with Grant Cardone's family friend. I'm still in contact with Alina Cardone once in a while. I am still in contact with Gary V's people, like his group of people that's working for him. I'm still in contact with the guests themselves, like Paul Gather. I'm still in contact with Carrie. I'm still in contact with so many of them because I believe in the power of building relationships. Building relationships can give you a longer term of success, be it with these influencers, celebrities, entrepreneurs, or whatsoever. They will still want to see you grow. They still want to see you succeed. Of course, there are those that I've met that behind the scenes, they are not so nice in the end. I didn't expect that. I didn't know that. I don't want to name names, but of course, there are those who will do their best to help you out. While there are still some, maybe a handful of them, minority of them that will do their best to sell you everything that they can in order to get you to be their customer rather than their collaborator because they see very little value in you maybe, or they see very little value in your pool of audience that you have. Maybe they're eyeing for multi-millionaires, but then you only have thousandaires that's there to assist them, which unfortunately some of them see that. So I wouldn't want that, to continue, right? So that's why sometimes through podcasting, we will learn the good side and the bad side of the guests that we had and the people that whom are deemed influencers in their niche or who are deemed as celebrity or their so-called Jesus Christ or Buddha of their niche. then yeah, you get to see certain things. So from my perspective, from what I find is that in order to, attract all these people, you need to know what they want, like literally. Certain people came in without me knowing what they actually want other than sharing a message out. So that's where they started to exploit a little, started to sell a little more than usual. But of course, there are people who are very nice, who wants to be a part of this and who wants to share their knowledge, share their wisdom without expecting anything. Okay, without expecting anything at all. Right. So I've been there, done that with these people, and I'm really grateful for this. So number one, build relationships with them in order to attract them. Number two, okay, number two, in order to attract them, okay, you got to learn what they want and what they like, what they don't like, what they don't want. Okay, what kind of friends are they looking for? What kind of people are they looking for? This is what you need to know. Okay, and to top it up for number one, how to build relationships with them, how to attract them, is that you got to add value to their posts, their content. Like literally, go in and don't DM straight away that you want to get them onto your podcast. Instead, add value to their posts. Like how Gary Vee always shared about the 180 rule. Go and add value to their posts and add valuable comments rather than just, hey, I love you, or things like that, right? Instead of doing all this, you need to know how to make sure that your your content, your comments is valuable to them. Like for example, if they post something about a quote about giving, then you can return back with a comment about giving and how amazing giving is, what's your experiences, and etc. And then from there, they will see, hey, I have somebody that's sharing their experiences rather than they thinking that you are a bot that's just being placed by some agency to add in some comments so that there will be more people to engage their content, to engage with your content, right? So all these are very important. And then number three, okay, number three is that in order to attract them, okay, you need to get along with their gatekeepers. Okay, so what I meant by gatekeepers, meaning to say that like Grant Cardone's family friend, I became a friend with them. For some of them, I know their assistants, I know their friends, and we became friends from there, right? So that's how we build relationship and how we attract them towards our show. And of course, not forgetting by proving to yourself, especially, that your own podcast or your own business idea or whatsoever is very, very good. And it's a no-brainer. Whoever passes it out is a no-brainer kind of stuff. So that is the ultimate thing that I want to say about, attracting them. Okay, so these are the three key things that I would say that's very important for them.
Thank you for that. For me, throughout this 5 minutes of sharing, I really, really learned a lot from you and also gained so much value from your sharing. Which one of the things that
Mm-hmm.
if is really important is also relationship building, just like what you said. Because as you continuously
Yep.
build relationship, more opportunities will start to come in, right? So
Yeah, correct. It's just like, your applied networks equals your net worth. Meaning to say that whatever that network that you have, right? You apply not just whatever they taught you, whatever that they recommend to you, you get to mix with your friends, for example, or whatsoever, and you tend to be able to get more results or even faster results as compared to you going going through it by yourself. So that is very important. Yeah.
Yep, extremely love that. So, Rayson, I just got one last question for you. Um, right,
Sure.
because like for your podcast, you have done over 70 plus podcasts. You have your own audience base. You have built up a fantastic audience base. But what is your advice for people
Mm-hmm.
who's just starting out? How are they able to get people in to interview them? How are they able to attract these people to come into their podcast when they do not have a very strong audience base yet?
Well, the ultimate thing is just keep going, and keep doing your podcast until you build a certain reach, and then who knows, when you get to meet certain people like Gary V, Grant Cardone, Paul Getter, or any other people like Eric Fong and all these other people, they will automatically come to you. They will just come. Or even if you approach them, they will definitely say yes, because they saw your consistency and your persistency and how well you have done your podcast, and they might find it interesting and etc. And once they find it interesting and they find it that this podcast or this thing that you're doing is very meaningful, purposeful, and also at the same time something that can gain value for them, they will just come. They will just accept. So that's why you just keep doing, keep going all the way until you reach a point where you get these people. So like for me, I kept going first. Starting, I already had someone who is pretty well known in his niche in Southeast Asia. Then after that, that's my first guest. Then after that, somebody that's pretty rising, like a rising star in Singapore. And then after that, I got somebody that's quite known for his own career in Singapore, right? And then I got someone from people like he's pretty known in I would say another continent, another in Europe, and then after that another, and I kept doing and I kept doing and I kept doing until the opportunity just came when Gary V came on the episode of 28, 25 or 26. Then after that, Grant Cardone came at episode 48, and then
Right.
Paul Getter came in and all the other people came. So it doesn't matter which number you're at. It doesn't matter whether you're at number 50, number 49, number 60, or even at number 10. You never know, right? Somebody can get slightly luckier than you by getting Gary V or Grant Cardone or whosoever faster and earlier than you. Doesn't mean that you are losing out. Make sense, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
so it all matters on how you approach them, how you talk to them in order to attract them to your podcast. There's one guy, I wouldn't want to name his name. He approached me and asked me to help him out. And then when I asked him what's the help that he needs, so he told me that he has a podcast and he only had 3 people. And ultimately, he has always been shunned away, okay, for a huge amount of time because his podcast is brand new. So I asked him, so what can you do in order to better communicate this, right? Better communicate this with your audience, with that guest that you want. He said he didn't know. So I told him that, if you want to actually gain the trust, the likability from all these people, first and foremost, you have to learn how to trust and like yourself. Because if you don't, then all the more people will not like, will not trust, will not have confidence in your product, your service, your podcast. So it is very crucial that you need to know how to believe in yourself, like yourself, love yourself. Then you can learn how to appreciate these people, and these people will eventually come and appreciate you. It's a vice versa whole cycle kind of stuff. So yeah.
Well, that is really, really powerful, and I absolutely love it because for me, I always share to people that before you even become a somebody, you must first see yourself as a somebody. then one thing that I've learned from
Mm-hmm.
well is also to put in the hard work and the results will automatically come to you. So not to worry about the results too
Yep.
much, but most importantly to put out content consistently out there. So
Yep.
Jason, thank you
Correct.
so much for being on the show. It's our pleasure to really learn from you today, and I believe that our audience has also gained a lot of value from you today. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, you're most welcome. So for those of you who hasn't heard about the Legacy Show, you can go on iTunes, Spotify, and other major podcast platform to listen to it. So it's the THE space RAYGACY Legacy space show SHOW. So you can check it out. You can find me on Instagram as well. And and one more thing.
Yeah.
I've just created a tribe on Telegram. Okay, so you can go and check it out. It's called the Legacy Show Family. It's where a lot of my followers, my ex-guests, they are all there. So there's digital marketers, entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people inside there. That's investors and all the other that are doing their best to collaborate with one another and also at the same time to give advice to one another as well. So you can go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And for those of you who are watching, I've been personally invited to the Telegram group, which I can tell you that network there is absolutely amazing. So for those not to
Thank
worry
you.
about all these things too much, because we will include all the links below so that you can actually click on them
Yep.
and follow Rayson as well. So Rayson, once again,
Yep.
thank you so much for this.
Oh, you're most welcome. Thank you. Thank you.